to you. Welcome to Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. My name is McAdams. I am an author, I'm an accounting professor, and I'm also a certified life coach. I specialize in personal and small business finance and also fitness. I help you reach your goals, and I'm so happy that you're joining me this morning. Good morning and welcome. Hopefully you guys are having a glorious day this morning, as I am, as you can tell by the bright smile on my face. It's always really good to be here on this earth and be alive, no matter what's going on in the environment, right? It's all about the inside. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be doing 5-minute exercises, one each on the mind, the body, and the soul. For the mind exercise, we're going to be reading out of a book that I wrote 3 years ago. It's called Your Body, The Perfect House, How to Find Your True Purpose and Live a Balanced Life. So we're going to be talking about that. And then for the yoga portion, for the body portion, we're going to be doing a 5-minute yoga routine. And then for the soul portion, we're going to be doing a 5-minute meditation. And the premise of this transformation is that we are one, a whole body, but we're made up of 3 parts, the mind, the body, and soul. And in order to affect change, we need to work on all 3 parts as opposed to just working on just 1 or maybe 2. And this came about because, well, obviously it makes sense, right? If you're trying to, let's say that the only thing that you're trying to do, let me back up. Let's say that you want to make change. And so the first thing that you think about is like, think about your physical appearance and how you're looking and how you're projecting yourself from the outside. And so you go about approaching it that way with just your physicality. Well, to me, it's like painting the outside of your house. Right? So the outside of the house could look gorgeous. It could be, the lawn could be immaculate and landscaped and just look beautiful on the outside. But if you go on the inside is a total disaster area. Well, guess what? We live on the inside. So if you approach it that way and find that you're still not happy, like you may have reached your goals, people may be complimenting you if you have weight loss goals or any type of goals that you have accomplished and you don't feel satisfied internally, let's now go back inside and work on it from the inside out. Because if you work on it on the inside out, guess what? It will manifest itself on the outside. But just because you change your exterior does not mean it's going to make any changes at all on the inside. So we're going to be affecting change in all 3 areas. All right, so back to my book. So again, I told you I wrote the book 3 years ago. And what happened on the book, and just so you can get understanding what it is, the book is an analogy of your body with the house. And so the house has rooms, right? Well, your body or your physicality, you have areas in your life that needs to be addressed. So when we clean up the rooms in the house, the living room is indicative of your financial area. We have the kitchen in the house, and that would be your physical. And then we have the office, which is your spirituality. And then we have you have your 2 bathrooms, and that's the left brain and the right brain, which comprise of your emotional area. And then we have the 2 bedrooms, and the 2 bedrooms are the relationships. So we have the relationship with yourself, including your spouse if you're married. And then of course you have a relationship with others. Okay, so those are the areas that we're going to be addressing in the book. Now we're on chapter 4 in this book, and just to kind of catch you up if you've not been tuned in, you are welcome. I'm glad that you found it at this point, because this is where you're supposed to be, right? Up until this point, we talked about getting to the house. I described in detail how you get to the house, because whenever something that's very impactful in your life comes into your life, you remember it distinctively. Like if you remember something that you can remember to the detail, something that was very, very impactful to you. So I talked about in detail how to get up to the house. And then we also talked about, once we got to the house, there was a description of the outside of the house. And that was indicative of who you're hanging around with. So your environment is very, very important. You got to make sure, particularly as we're affecting change, you can't just say, I'm going to affect change on me, and it also not include your surroundings as well. Because think about it. The example that I've used in the past is, let's say that you decided to work on your physical body. And so you just, but you have a group of friends that you normally go out to eat. And when you go out to eat, it's not the healthiest of choices. Well, if all of a sudden you decide to make that change within you, and then you're still hanging around with those same people, you may say, okay, well, I'm going to start eating a salad. And they're going to pick on you because before you were eating all the chips and everything else. And even if they don't pick on you, you're going to feel uncomfortable. And bottom line is you're going to eventually revert back to that same behavior. Okay, so you got to affect the change. So we talked about your environment, how important it has an effect on you. Now, again, I'm not saying this totally drop your friends. It just maybe you don't go as often and don't stay as long. Then when we got in chapter 3, we talked about the inside of the house. So and just kind of elaborated more on what it's like on the inside, like in this totality. I mentioned also that it's, when you go inside of a house, you may see some rooms that are closed off. Like I mentioned, I could close off my office doors, and then I can just stay in here, or I can not stay in here. I can just kind of leave this room as a desertion, if you will. Well, just because you leave a room, first off, if you leave it nasty and close it off, obviously it's going to be nasty, right? But for those of you that think, well, maybe what if my room is clean and I close it off? Even if you clean up the room and close it off, over time, dust is going to appear, right? Because that's just natural and normal. So the premise of that is to make sure that you understand that, there will be maybe some clean areas in your house, and we're not saying neglect those. You definitely don't want to neglect those, and just focus on the ones that you need to clean up. And that's what a lot of people do. As I mentioned that with just the 2/3 of your body, but it also happens with the areas in your life, right? You spend more time on one area versus the other. And so this premise here is to make sure that you're cleaning your whole house the way you want it. And then you can pick and choose which areas you want to have the main focus on. But you have to kind of keep your eye on all of the areas, right? Because if you neglect one, guess what's going to happen to that one? It's going to probably go wayward. And we don't want that to happen. And then finally, we got to the first room, which was in chapter 4, which is my favorite. Well, it's not my favorite room. My office is my favorite room, but it's my favorite area to address, and it's the financial area, because the financial area comprises of the biggest area of our lives, because it affects everything that we do. So just so that you know, so far we talked about different things. And again, if you want to see all in detail, you got to watch the previous broadcasts, which they are located on my fan page. But you can also go to my YouTube channel and just search for Pia McAdams. And then you'll be able to find all the recordings, including the ones I did last month with a totally different book. So if you want to get totally caught up, you're going to find all those easily on my YouTube channel. All right, so let's see. Last week we left off, and I'm going to start off with there again because it's so important, is to pay yourself first. And the premise of that is, remember, what I'm teaching you in one area also affects all the areas, right? So pay yourself first is also meaning make yourself a priority, okay? So we talked about making yourself a priority. So, of course, we're going to move that now into the living room. So it kind of goes both ways, right? Did you follow that? No worries. It's a little early in the morning if you didn't. All right. But anyway, you want to pay yourself first. So before you pay any of your bills, you want to allocate it. And I talked about the 3 different areas of my recommendation. So then Saturday we left off with making sure that you know where you are, okay, as far as listing out your expenses and all your income, so that you have a complete financial picture of where you are. So now I'm going to expand on that area of understanding where you are and talk about your credit report, because in order to understand where you are, it's not just where you know you are based upon your income, your expenses, but it's also where you are as relates to everyone else, like your creditors. Okay, so we're going to talk about your credit report. You want to make sure that you do access your credit report, because where you think you are may not be what's reported to the credit reporting agencies. So in case you're new, good morning, Nisi. Glad that you joined me. If you're new, you have 3 main reporting credit bureaus. Now, there are several other credit bureaus as well. I'm not addressing that now. I'm talking about the 3 main reporting credit bureaus. Okay, so we have Equifax, we have Experian, and we have TransUnion. Those are the main ones that affect your credit rating. Okay, so I've in the past talked about other credit reports and how, like for instance, your score could be way higher than the normal scoring. I'm talking about the 3 main ones for this broadcast. Okay, so again, we have Experian, we have Equifax, and we have TransUnion. Those are the 3 main ones, the credit reporting bureaus. So you want to make sure that you request your credit report at least every single year, because guess what? Each of the 3 reporting agencies, you can request a free report every single year, annually. Okay, so that's guaranteed. You can actually request it and not pay anything, and it will give you your credit report. And on your credit report will list it's basically going to list your credit, and you want to check it for accuracy. And if there's anything that is not accurately reported, now you can be proactive and take the opportunity to make the corrections. In other words, there may be something that's on your credit report that you had no idea. You're included in the financial area is your identity, right? We know that we are rampantly in this area, this age of people stealing our identity. You may not even know it. Someone can actually have your identity and open up credits, open up bank accounts, credit cards, all kinds of things in your name, and you not know it. Well, this is a proactive way. This is one of the many proactive ways that you can take in order to make sure that doesn't happen, or find out if it has happened. So you're scouring through your credit report, making sure that what they say is correct. And guess what? A lot of people don't know this, but if there's anything negative on there, like let's say you went through a bad spell where you weren't able to pay your bills, and so obviously they're going to, your agency, the billing people are going to report negatively toward your credit agency. Well, did you know that you can actually write in an explanation? My mom passed away and I was really having a bad time, or I lost my job, but since then I've secured another job. You can actually write in and submit an explanation to that. So as creditors look at your credit report, they will also have access to those notes as well. Okay, so that's one main thing, but you want to make sure that your credit report accurately reflects what you want it to reflect. And if it doesn't, because again, obviously we want to reflect positive stuff and this may have some negative, then write in and give an explanation. Don't just take it at its word. First off, make sure that you know that it's on there. Now, my recommendation with your credit report, and again, it depends, is to request one at the beginning of the year, because you only get 3 free. Okay, 3 free, otherwise you have to pay for them. 3 free. Request one at the beginning of the year. That way you know immediately where you stand. Then request one toward the middle of the year, because again, you don't want to wait to the very end of the year to request all 3, because it's too late. You can't, yes, you can make corrections, but remember, we're talking about being proactive. So the earlier that you know that something is being reported or reported incorrectly, the better it is that you can actually take the proactive approach to fix it. Okay, so request one toward the beginning of the year, request one toward the middle of the year, and then request one toward the end of the year. Okay, so that's my general recommendation on the credit report. That way you know where you stand throughout the year. Now, obviously, some vendors or some creditors rely on different reports heavier than others. And your 3 different reports, they're not going to have the same thing, and you're not going to even have the same number. And when you request this annual report, you may not even know what your number is. Okay, because again, if it's free, they typically don't give you your number. But I will tell you this. If you are denied credit, that's another way that you can have access to your credit report free. So if you go in, let's say to buy a car and you got rejected, or let's say you apply for a credit card and they denied you, then at that point you also are obliged to request a free credit report. But they don't tell you this. But again, these are some things, these are life skills that are very important to understanding your big financial picture. Okay, so those credit reports. Now, in case you're wondering, if you do know your credit score, anywhere between a 770 and an 850 is excellent on the 3 main reporting credit agencies. Remember, you can have higher numbers, but those are not with the 3 main reporting agencies. So anywhere between 770 and 850 is considered excellent. And then anything really below a 600 and below is considered risky. So you may be saying, well, what does that mean? What does my credit say about me? Well, really what your credit says about you is from the creditor's standpoint, what is the risk that they're taking in order to loan you money? So what is your credit risk? That's what your credit report says about you. And you say, well, Pia, you know what? I don't care about my credit because I pay cash. And I say, kudos to you for paying cash, but there may be a time in your life where you're going to need a credit card. Let's say that you're going to buy a house, not a credit card, I should say credit. You may want to purchase a home. Well, if you have cash, if you're going to pay cash, then by all means, pay cash for it. Great. But if you're not going to pay cash, then you're going to, obviously you're going to need some credit. So then I hear things of what happens if I don't have credit? Well, not having credit is just as bad as having bad credit, because they can't assess whether or not you're risky or not. So they're just going to assume that it's negative. Okay. Then there's a whole bunch of areas that I won't get into now, but there are things as having too much credit. Like a lot of questions I get as a financial planner. Well, what are the things that affect my credit report? Well, obviously, I want to right now just focus on the things that you should do in order to get your credit high. Okay. Now there's obviously things that will happen that affects your credit rating. And keep in mind, the credit bureau, they like to keep these things kind of hush-hush, like they don't really tell us. But over time, we can kind of gauge what's happening with your credit score. Like we can pretty much tell whether this is going to have a negative effect or positive effect on it. But again, it's like the IRS, they want to keep it in secret. Okay, you know how the IRS codes has like thousands of pages and no one really knows everything that's on it because they just keep toppling tax laws on top of tax laws, and no one has time to read the whole thick book. Well, same thing with the credit report, except for it's not that thick, but again, they want to keep it hush-hush. So the things that you want to do to keep your credit report high is, number one, pay your bills on time. If you do have the bills, pay them on time. Okay, pay them on time. Even if you can't pay the full amount, like people don't understand this. Like they say, okay, I can't pay my credit card bill, so I'm just not going to pay anything. Pay something, because at least if you're paying something, they can't report that you didn't pay anything. They're not going to report you paid 100%, but at least it's not going to be a full negative report as if you didn't pay anything. So pay something. Now, later on, we'll talk about the credit cards, and when I'm saying pay something, yes, you know, obviously if you don't have it, then pay the minimum. But if you're paying the minimum, that's a bottomless pit. That's a whole nother story. You want to definitely pay more. But remember, the purpose of this budgeting plan is for us to list everything that we own, and we can see a full picture of where we are. So now we can address those specific credit card issues. But right now, I'm just talking about your credit report. So make sure that you pay your bills on time. That's number one. And then two, don't open up too many credits. Okay. And then I would say number three would be also don't close out your credit cards or your credit, because what people don't realize, and I'm talking about the three main ones that people may or may not know. If you do close off your credit card, that will have a negative effect on your credit history. And you're like, what in the world? How is that possible? I just paid off all my debt and now I'm closing the card. Keep in mind, the credit report is based upon the creditor's view of you, not your own view of you. So in other words, what is the risk? Well, if you have a long-standing history, let's say that you had a credit card that you've had for 10 years, and all of a sudden you finally paid it off and you were so happy you celebrated by closing that account. Well, now you've just closed off 10 years worth of history, of credit history, and the credit agency doesn't have access to that. So it's going to negatively affect your credit report. So what do I recommend instead? If you do pay off, which that's the goal, right? Is pay off your credit card, cut them off and don't use them again. And then also too, if you have too much credit, think in terms of, when we're talking about this, I want you to get outside of yourself. And I know I'm kind of like, it seems like I'm being contradictory, but I'm not. This is all about working internal. But sometimes you have to kind of go outside and say, wait a minute. This is about me, but how is it being portrayed about me? So in other words, if you were a creditor, how would your credit report look to the creditor? Would you extend credit to yourself? Well, if you've cut off your history, no. If you're not paying your bills on time, no. If you have too much credit where you can get yourself in trouble, no. Okay, so look at it from that standpoint, not because, you know that you're responsible, so you paid off your credit cards. Well, how does that look to the agency? All right, so hopefully that makes sense. And guess what? That kind of concludes our 5 minutes for today, our talk. But remember, just make sure that you know where you are, get the credit report. And by the way, go to annualcreditreport.com. Okay, I'll say that again. Annualcreditreport.com to request your credit report, your free credit report. You're going to hear all these other places that you can go to as well. And if you want to trust those, that's fine. I recommend annualcreditreport.com because that's the one I know for a fact. The other ones, they're going to try to trick you, and then they're going to try to get you to pay this or click on this or do other things. But if you go to annualcreditreport.com to request your free credit report, then that's great. Now, a lot of times, let me say this before I log off. A lot of times people talk about their bank, okay? Because I know I have USAA. USAA is what I'm saying. That was kind of fast. But USAA is a credit union. And they also provide my credit report for me. So for those of you that are saying to me, well, I don't have to go there because my bank supplies that. Remember what I just said at the very beginning. I'm talking about the three main credit reporting agencies. So if USAA supplies your credit report, make sure it's one of the three, because a lot of times your bank will say, well, we'll give you a credit report. There are several other credit reporting agencies. So if you're getting a higher score, like higher than 850, those are not going to be reports off those three. And if you do have, let's say in a bank that gives you your credit report, but make sure it's coming from one of the three main credit reporting agencies and not their own. Okay, so again, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Those are the three main credit reporting agencies that the majority of the credit that the creditors use in order to test your credit worthiness or your credit riskiness. Okay, so thank you for joining me online, and I hope that was very useful for you and provided some information. And now we're going to move on to the other two-third portion of our transformation. We're going to go on to, I remember this time I got my cell phone. And we're going to go on to a 5-minute yoga, and then we're going to also move immediately into the meditation. So I want to hear from you. How you guys doing this early Monday morning? I know this is, for some of you, you're getting ready to go to work. You have a full day of work ahead of you. Like, how are you overall feeling from the weekend? I hope everything is going well for you. Hope you woke up with a good attitude, good spirits, and hopefully you did not go to sleep watching the news, or that was the last thing or anything negative on your TV before you went to bed. Because again, what you leave off with is what you're going to wake up with. So if you leave or go to sleep with the news on, and guess what? The news is normally reporting negative stuff. That's all being imprinted in your brain subconsciously while you're asleep. So just don't do it, okay? Do a meditation before you go to bed. Do your gratitude. Write in your journal. Do something positive, so that way you'll wake up with a positive outlook. So that's like another little tip to help you out. Okay, so for this yoga, we're going to be starting off on our hands and knees in our tabletop, and we're just going to kind of warm up with a little cat-cow. Remember, this is a practice, so I invite you to do this with me. And by the way, I get all the time where people say, I really love your broadcast, but I'm unfortunately not able to get on because it's too early, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate you watching the recording. And keep in mind, it's all about the 5 minutes. And you know already what the 5-minute exercises are, right? So reading something positive, making sure that you do some type of physical exercise, and then calming your mind, okay, getting in tune with yourself. Those are the 3 main things. So if need be, what you can do is break up the broadcast, right? You can watch a little bit in the morning, watch a little bit in the middle, in the afternoon, and then just before they go to bed. So my general recommendation is in the morning, get up and do the yoga. Get your body moving, get the blood flowing. Pray, tribute to the sun, to God for giving us the energy. And then in the middle of the day, when you start to get kind of stressed out from your work and just from your day, take the time to do a 5-minute meditation, okay? So maybe play the 5-minute meditation portion. And then just before you go to bed, I just talked about the importance of having something positive on your brain and also feeding through your subconscious while you sleep, okay? So general recommendation. All right, so let's move on to the yoga. Let me put my music on and let's get started. Tabletop, hands and knees, palms directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips, and let's get started. Take a nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose. And as you exhale, drop your chin down to your chest, round through your spine, tuck your tailbone under. This time as you inhale, your head and chest comes forward, arch your back. Set the tailbone out toward the back of the room, drop the shoulder blades, armpits down toward the mat. And as you exhale, round through the spine, tuck the tailbone under. Again, inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling again. This time as you exhale, I want you to curl those toes under and take it to downward facing dog. Now as you inhale, I want you to bend your knees. And as you exhale, try to get those heels down. Press your chest toward your thighs and your knees. Again, as you inhale, bend those knees in. And as you exhale, try to get those heels down. Press your chest toward your thighs and the knees. Head is aligned with your bicep. Continue that just using your breath, just kind of warming up. Again, just something different with the downward facing dog. This is the first time that you're in this position in the morning. Just do what feels comfortable to you, okay? Come up on the top of your toes. Strike it all the way down to the balls of your feet, to your heels. Now on the next inhale, go ahead and bring that left foot forward toward the fingertips. Then turn that right foot in so that the heel of your left foot is dissecting the arch of your right. Then we're going to take it to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Relax the shoulders. Open up your hips. Take a nice three deep breaths. Extending from fingertip to fingertip. As you inhale, straighten up the leg, lean as far forward as you can, and take the hand down toward the shin. Opposite arm goes up. And we're in Trikonasana, also known as triangle pose. Now, okay, if you're new, you may be here, that's fine. I don't want you to try to go all the way down and then get out of alignment as you're doing this, okay? So pretend like there's two glass planes, one in front of you and one behind you. It's your job to keep those glass planes nice and clear. Now, on your next breath, go ahead and rotate your body, and we're going to take it to pyramid. In this position, it may be too much of a gentle pull or too much of a pull in your hamstring. If that is the case, feel free to bend your knee. In any of these poses, as you inhale, just kind of hold your position, and as you exhale, you're going to release, relax, and sink into the pose. Draw your breath to the tight areas of your body. I want you to lift the kneecap on this left leg to engage the quadricep. Now go ahead and bend this left knee as we slowly start to transition our weight. Take this right leg up behind. And with the arm position, this is going to be the easiest right here, is to get the arms behind you. I want you to find a spot directly in front of you and just concentrate and focus on that one spot. If you start to waver and lose your balance, lower your leg behind. Your arms can also be out to the side, or your arms can be out in front. Continue to breathe. And then slowly release it down. Take the palms down, and let's take it back to downward facing dog. Go ahead and pedal the legs. As you inhale, come up on the top of your toes. And exhale, roll down to the balls of your feet, all the way down to the heels. Try to press them down to the mat. Let's do that again. Come up on the top of your toes. And then roll all the way down to the balls of your feet, all the way down to the heels. Try to press them toward the mat. One more time. Come up on the top of your toes. And roll down to the balls of your feet, all the way down to the heels. Try to press them down toward the mat. Now, your next inhale, bring that right foot forward to the fingertips. Turn that left foot in perpendicular. And take it up to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Again, squeeze those shoulder blades together, extending nice and long from fingertip to fingertip. You're looking over that right shoulder, straight ahead. Chin is toward the shoulder. Open up the hips, drawing your breath toward the tight areas of your body. Go ahead and straighten out that right leg. Lean as far forward as you can. Take that right arm toward the shin. Left arm goes up toward the sky. Now your gaze follows that left arm, which is up. If there's too much strain and stress on your neck, feel free to look forward or to look down. Again, as you inhale, just kind of hold your position. And as you exhale, if you can, get further down into the stretch, using your breath, directing it toward the tight areas of your body. Make sure that you're breathing. On the next breath, go ahead and rotate. Fingertips down toward the mat. And again, if you need to, bend the knee. And remember, as one side is going to be slightly tighter than the other, that's okay. Just be patient. This is my tight side here. So as I inhale, I'm just going to hold my position. And as I exhale, I'm going to try to sink a little deeper. Just going down as far where it just feels that discomfort. Not too much discomfort. You don't want to overdo it. But once you get to that spot, at that point, just draw your breath. Internally focus on directing your breath toward the tight area in your body. All right, go ahead and start to bend the right knee. We're going to start transitioning your weight. Find your focus point, and then lift up. Remember the clues. Find a spot, focus on it. If you start to waver, lower that back leg. Arms can be behind, can be out to the side, or can be in the front. And then slowly lower the palms down. Take the legs back, and take it back to downward facing dog. This time we're going to walk our palms, our hands, back to our feet. And we're going to hold this forward fold. Take your hands and clasp the outside of your elbows. Let the crown of your head bring your body weight naturally forward as it focuses down toward the mat. Again, as you inhale, just kind of hold, and as you exhale, sink a little deeper into the stretch. As you open up the hip flexor, stretching out those hamstrings, lift the kneecaps to engage those quadriceps. You can go ahead and swing your body side to side. Remember, just do what feels comfortable to you. Then slowly release the hands down back to the floor or to the mat, and then slowly round it up your body, taking your time, stacking your vertebrae one at a time. Keep your chin on top of your chest, so that your head is the last to rise as you rotate your shoulders back. Lift up your head, natural extension of the spine. Take a nice deep breath, take the arms up overhead, and as you exhale, I want you to forward fold, dive your body all the way forward. Place your palms down on the mat, walk your feet out so that you're in a wide-legged squat position where your toes are pointed at an angle. You're using your elbows to press out on those outer thighs or those inner thighs, and then go ahead and place the palms together in a prayer position. On the exhale, go ahead and bow your head down toward the fingertips. And again, still exerting a little pressure on the inside of those thighs, opening up the hip flexor as they sink down toward the mat. Now go ahead and release one hand. Release my left hand down. Right arm goes up and over. Just getting a gentle side stretch here. Now in this pose here, the tendency is to lift the hips up like this. Keep the hips dropped down. Now go ahead and replace it and do the opposite arm down. Opposite arm goes up and over. And again, relax those hips down. All right, placing both palms down. This time, gently transition yourself so that you're coming to a seated cross-legged position facing to the front. You're off the sits bone, on your sits bones, not the fleshy part of your body. Arms down by your side. We're going to take a nice deep breath as we inhale. We're going to breathe the palms together at the very top. Exhale down through the center. And namaste. Okay, now it's time to quiet your mind. So let's take a nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose. And exhale into your mouth. Kind of notice where your body is right now. Kind of focusing on your breath. So again, inhaling through your nose. And exhaling through your mouth. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath again. Inhale. This time lift your head up all the way up toward the sky. And as you exhale, drop your chin down toward your chest. Again, as you inhale, take your head up all the way up toward the sky. And as you exhale, drop your chin down toward the chest. Let's do that one more time. Take a nice deep breath. Inhale, head goes all the way up to the sky. And then this time as you exhale, bring your head forward. Continue breathing. And I invite you as you take your next breath to simply be aware or more conscious. So forget about the past, forget about the future, and just focus on the now. Taking the breath in through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Go ahead and relax your forehead. Relax your eyes, your nose, your jaws. Go ahead and relax your ears. And relax the back of your neck. Continue breathing, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. I want you to imagine all the stress and negativity just washing off your shoulders, just sliding down, and as this is happening, it's elongating and lengthening your neck. See a clear passageway all the way up to your head. Nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. At the same time, I want you to feel that your feet are connecting to the floor and to the earth. You're feeling nice and grounded. Taking deep breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. As the thoughts are coming into your mind, just gently push them away like a moving cloud, or pretend like they're leaves flowing down a mountain stream as you focus on your breath. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Again, just be consciously aware of this moment, this present moment, this here and this now. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through the mouth. Continue breathing. Continue to cultivate this present moment, the here and the now. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. You are in a safe place in your heart where there's love and there is light. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Now go ahead and take another deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Again, deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. One more time, nice deep breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Go ahead and open up your eyes as you release, relax, return, refresh, and calm. You've done something good for yourself today. Now that concludes the meditation portion, and it also concludes today's Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. I thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for letting me meditate with you and for allowing me to be on your transformation journey. So today's word is harmony. So I want you to have a nice day. Make sure it's filled with peace and harmony. By the way, I will be doing a webinar presentation which says 8 steps to guide to your financial freedom. That's going to be airing on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8 Eastern Standard Time. And also, I will be interviewing today. I will be doing another live. This is doing my empowerment series. I will be doing another interview with someone. I'm so excited to be talking with her live. The name of the broadcast is How to Find Your Inner Peace. And I know you will find this one very, very good. So tune in. This is going to be aired tonight at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, I'm going to be talking with my girl, my pal, Nisi Johnson. So very, very excited about that. Tune in, and I look forward to seeing you then. Have a great day. Be in harmony. Bye. What's going on? Doesn't want to finish.